All right, and now at this time, well, I'll let you have a seat. I'd like to invite representatives from the Erie County Conservative Party to come up for a special presentation.
Good evening, everyone. So we have a presentation for Jerry. Where, Jerry?
Right here.
Come on up, Jerry. So, Jer, from the Erie County Conservative Party, for the good fight that you continuously put up, for the dedication that you have, and for what you instill in us to keep on fighting the good fight. Thanks.
Thank you, Ralph, and thank you to the Erie County Conservative Party. This is John Dean and Barry Goldwater Jr., Pure Goldwater, and it's a picture of an election scene from 1964 here. Fantastic. Yeah. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Enjoy it. All right.
Thank you. All right. That's good. All right, at this time, I would like to welcome Alison Esposito, again, our Lieutenant Governor candidate for the last election, to come on up for a special introduction.
Well, thank you, sir. I wasn't eating this time.
Okay, try.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much to Chairman Kassar for putting on a wonderful conference today. A round of applause, right? It was great. There was a lot of information. It was fantastic. And it's so amazing being up here in Albany, in the capital region with all of you. I just want to say, Lee, we finally made it. We're here. I went to the Capitol building today. Trish made me. I don't know where she is. Trish made me. And we went in. We were going to see Senator Ortt, and I wanted to see the Senate chambers. And I got in there, and it was humbling. It was awe-inspiring. And then I got up to where the Lieutenant Governor stands and presides over the Senate, and I stood there. And they threw me out right away. They were like, "Get out! You're not the Lieutenant Governor." I was like, "Damn, okay." So, but it was great. This was a great couple of days. It was fantastic. And as all of you know, you were by our side the entire time that Lee and I were campaigning up and down the state. 62 counties, cities, rural, suburban. Didn't matter what gender you were, how old you were, where you came from, what God you prayed to. Every New Yorker was putting their hands in ours and saying, "Please, if you don't win, we have to leave." Or they were saying, "Please, my grandchildren cannot afford or cannot be raised in New York because my children cannot afford to live here." Or, "Please, I can't afford to harvest the crop that I planted because of these regulations." They were begging. And as you know, Lee and I made a commitment to the people of New York State. We made a commitment to the people of the United States. And because we came just short, and with all your help it was just short, does not change the commitment that we made to the people of the United States or the people of this state. So as most of you know, I am now running for United States Congress in New York's 18th District. I'm looking forward to taking out a leftist in sheep's clothing, Pat Ryan, who believes in sanctuary counties and cities, doesn't cooperate with law enforcement or ICE, refuses border security. This is an individual whose time has come. Again, we're battling for the heart and soul of our country and our state. Now, I moved on to that. Lee moved on to everything else in the world. He is taking on the world. He has leadership PACs. He has a nonprofit, Zeldin Cares. He's still working with the America First Institute. Lee is more than anyone I know committed to bringing common sense and conservative American values back to elected office, back to Washington, back to this country. Throughout the time that we campaigned together, when we first met, he didn't really know how to deal with me or my sense of humor. My first time up in the Capitol building, I texted him that I was sneaking into Brian Benjamin's office to measure the curtains, but not to worry because I had a mustache and sunglasses on, and he started calling around to Capitol Police to stop me from getting in there. But over the time, I got to know Lee, not the politician, but Lee the man. The man of integrity, the family man, the dad, the husband, the guy who's concerned about his kids, the guy who's concerned about your children's education, your children's ability to grow up in a world where we're not over-sexualizing them, where we're not telling them who they are or what to believe, where we have teachers that are teaching facts while we teach our children values. This is the kind of man that I got to know while I was campaigning, and I am happy and honored to not only call him a partner, but a friend. So, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, I'm going to introduce my friend, Lee Zeldin.
So much. And things in life, we go down a particular path and we think we know maybe what will happen at the end of a campaign. Alison, you were meant to serve in Congress, and I wholeheartedly support your campaign. I'm excited that you stepped up to continue serving, and I know that you'd be a fantastic Congresswoman. Alison Esposito, she's a great Lieutenant Governor nominee. She'll be a great member of Congress. One of the things that's liberating about not being an elected official and not being a candidate, you get to be even more candid with friends. I don't have 700,000 constituents anymore. I'm not running for the support of, whatever's the population now. It's dropping. We are able to just speak our minds. So many of you in this room are like, yeah, welcome to the club. I got to tell you, when I was in the state senate for 4 years, I remember the first few times that Andrew Cuomo was starting to, piss me off with policies and abuses of power that I thought demanded accountability. And the people of New York were expecting the Republicans in charge of the New York State Senate to be that last line of defense. And in some respects, we were. But on the oversight front, I thought, hey, we had the gavels. Why don't we use the gavels, use our chairmanships, and hold this guy accountable? And then people would pull me aside. Republicans in the Senate, not all of them. They were great colleagues in the Republican Senate. But a few people, key people in leadership, pulled me aside. What are you doing? If we piss him off, he's going to come campaign against us in our districts. Did you see his polling numbers? Oh, we can't go up against him. I hate to break the news to you, Rob. You're well aware of this, but Republicans aren't in the majority of the state Senate anymore. And part of winning these races and having a majority, it's about earning the majority. And when you have it, proving that when you were campaigning for it, that you deserved it. Right now, we are at a moment. I apologize if anyone was listening to the press conference earlier. If I was using a salty word or two about the condition of New York State, and if that offended anybody. But the fact is, Jerry, the state is falling to shit. Was that the word? So what are we going to do about it? And everything is at stake this November for our country. And there are people in this state, some are in the state legislature, present company, I'm sure excluded, because we have the best of the best here, Jerry. You're not going to give any of these awards to any members of the state legislature who are on the other side of the list. It goes to the best of the best, the people with the best scores, and you have to earn it. The nominee of our party is the 45th and 47th President of the United States, Donald Trump. By the way, regardless of what anyone thinks about him, You might be the strongest supporter in this room of Donald Trump, or you might be the person who is the furthest on the other end of the extreme. Oh, we have Calvin Yeager here. Well, you know, I heard you were here. I don't know if you all realize this. Kelman is a Democratic New York City councilman, but he's the type of Democratic New York City councilman we are honored to have at the New York State Conservative Party running the office. A courageous fighter. Kelman, have you endorsed Donald Trump? Don't answer that. I looked at him actually right when I was making the point that there might be some people here on the other end. I don't know. The reason why we were all successful in 2022 is that we ran as a team. Top down, bottom up. It was one team. Wherever Alison and I traveled in the state of New York, if you were on the Republican line and you were conservative line and you were running for Congress and state legislature, local office, one team. There are primaries. You support your candidate in the primary. And when the primary is over, you do everything in your power, all in, taking absolutely nothing for granted until the last ballot is cast and counted. And the other thing that we did was that what we all told as a team, we all told New Yorkers what it is that we wanted to do for them to save the state. It wasn't just the Democrats are bad, Kathy Hochul's bad, so vote for us. No, we laid out a vision. People knew what they were going to get on the first day in office. We were telling them on day one about firing Alvin Bragg. We were talking about suspending laws like cashless bail. We're recognizing that parents have a fundamental right to control the upbringing of their child, ending all COVID mandates in the state of New York. We were telling people what we stood for. This November 2024, the key to our success is going to be all of us as a team. Top down, bottom up. I spent, last Monday, I was over 2 hours with President Trump down in Florida. And every single time that I am with him, he is talking about how he wants to be competitive in New York. He's talking about doing rallies in the Bronx. He's talking about doing rallies in Madison Square Garden. We should have a rally in Calvin Yeager's district. You won't like that. Sorry. Listen, we all have to plan on continuing our momentum as a movement. This is bigger than any one candidate on any given year. This is about us as conservatives being proud, unapologetic conservatives, explaining to voters how in this moment we have a country to save. And when we get out into the city, in the bluest areas of New York, and we are talking to Asian American voters and black voters and Hispanic voters and Orthodox Jewish voters, what we will find is that these longtime Democratic voters, disenfranchised by Democratic policies, are waiting with open arms for us to show up. But there are political consultants who tell us not to show up. They say it's a waste of our time. Listen, even if you show up, they'll never vote for you. And when we show up, we realize that Democrats aren't showing up there either because they know that even if they don't show up, they're still going to get their vote. And you know what? Maybe these consultants are right. Who knows? But when we get told that we shouldn't go into a particular area, it's not worth our time, I believe what they are telling us is that is exactly where we need to show up. And when we show up, it's not about pandering, it's about showing up and telling that Asian American parent that we believe that there should be merit-based entry into specialty schools, that we believe that we shouldn't get rid of advanced academics in the name of equity, that we should get rid of critical race theory. We want to keep people safe by firing prosecutors who refuse to enforce the law, by repealing cashless bail. See, it's when we are focused on substance that we are connecting with these voters on issues that transcend blind partisan loyalty. Longtime Democratic voters who have never voted Republican, but they are ready to vote for Republican and conservative candidates now. This partnership between parties in this state has never been more vital. There are 3.5 million more Democrats than Republicans in the state of New York. Obviously, the Conservative Party in so many races has been the difference between winning and losing for so many of us through the years. At this moment, it is conservative solutions brought to the bluest parts of New York with a ticket, top down, bottom up, running as a team. I don't want any candidate who is running on our lines this November trying to distance themselves from the person who is at the top of our ticket because we are trying to save a country. You care about our southern border? You want to secure our southern border? You care about foreign policy? You want to have an energy policy that works again? If you believe that Joe Biden right now is taking our country in the wrong direction and you want to do something about it, we have no room to fight amongst ourselves. We have to be all in together with every ounce of our energy between now and November, because I believe that I have a country to save. And I'm not saying that any one of us who feel the same way as I do, that this is about any one of us individually. It's about all of us together. The New York State Conservative Party leading at the tip of the spear, because it is the values that makes this line as precious as it is. More so than any candidate, anyone who gets to call themselves a chair, anyone who's a committeeman, or a registered Conservative Party member. The heart and soul of the Conservative Party is what the Conservative Party stands for. When I was running for the first time and showing up at the Suffolk County Conservative Party, there would be a round table that would start grilling me on issue after issue after issue. They would do that with everybody. Even if you're an elected official, you'd show up and they'd grill you because they want to know what you stand for. At the end of the day, when you get elected and you're in these positions like we see our state legislators who are here now, there is no room for anyone in the Republican or Conservative Party to be pulling any of our leaders aside and saying, you're not doing the right thing, when you want to speak up and use your power to try to hold the left accountable. Last thing I'll say is this. When President Trump was in office, there was a max pressure strategy targeting Iran, and it was working. The left right now has a max pressure strategy against all of us on everything. They don't want our country to be the best version of itself. They want our country to be like some other country somewhere else. They advocate against the nuclear family. They believe that in places like New York, you should be allowed to get an abortion until the end of the 9th month. They believe that parents should lose out on rights to control the upbringing of their child, to the point where permanent medical decisions could get made, and a parent wouldn't be part of that process. They're compromised by unions. Some might be uncomfortable when I say that. But the public sector teachers union right now in New York has applied so much pressure on the leaders in Albany, from Kathy Hochul on down, where to deflect away from the fact that we're spending 2.5 times more per pupil and our kids are performing worse than the same 4th grade black students, Hispanic students, and low-income students in Mississippi. To deflect off the attention off that, they go after yeshiva education. It's too easy. Go after the Jews. It's their people on the streets who are out there dressed like Hamas terrorists, using rhetoric like Hamas terrorists, right after October 7th, and on our college campuses and in the halls of government. So I want to say congratulations to all of the standard bearers, elected officials, the conservatives who are here, the best of these state assemblymen and state senators. Thank you, as a New Yorker, as an American, for having courage. I'll be politically correct. I see Marjorie's here. I almost said thank you for having balls, but I was like, I can't say that, so I'm not going to. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that. And meanwhile, there's like some other guys here who are like, I think Marjorie has bigger balls than I do. Marjorie, we're going to miss you. Congratulations on your retirement, by the way. Gerard Kassar, thank you for all of your leadership. And now as we leave here, tonight we go back home for a really important election that's going to come up between now and November. Let's encourage the rest of the state assemblymen and state senators and congressmen that now is a time to go all in. It's a max pressure effort on the left against all of us. It's time for us to challenge ourselves, to challenge Democrats who have never voted conservative. It's a moment for all of us to rise up because we have a country to save, knowing what is right. We're not going to let anyone, especially on our own side, bully us away from using the power, the purpose, and the moment, because when we go to sleep on election night, November 2024, we're going to be going to sleep knowing that we had done everything in our power successfully to save what is the greatest country in the history of the world. It's a future that is relying on us. It's freedoms and liberties that are on the line. It's families that we continue to promote, leading the way to tip of the spear. It's accountability that Americans who are being targeted are demanding. It's people who have been on the wrong side of tech censorship. It's Americans who have kids who are going overseas in the military. It's people who have brothers and sisters who are serving in the NYPD getting beaten up by migrants and having a prosecutor who puts them out on the street. Yes, it's a max pressure campaign against all of us, but this moment is one that we are ready for. And after it's over, we will rest easy. When we come back here for next year's CPAC, we'll be proud. As one team, one fight, we will have saved this republic. Thank you for everything that you do, leading the way to keep our elected officials honest and on point. Thank you, Kassar.
Thanks, thank you all for coming here tonight. Thank you for supporting this event, supporting this conference. I worked in the legislature for a lot of years, and to be quite honest, we're throwing a pretty good dinner tonight. I've seen a few tough chicken dinners over the years up here, and I think we're doing pretty good. Oh, it's not working?
It's working.
Oh, okay. All right, does that sound better? All right. I just want you to know everything I said before was very important, and I'm going to not go back. Our conference has been a success. That's due to Jason and Jason McGuire, Eileen Johnson, Andrew Davis, Jim Thomas, Aaron Martin, and Chris Kendall. In fact, Andrew, where are you right now? Andrew Davis. Come on up here. So. He brought the age of the party down by 25 years, and also the weight of the party, I might point out. Been a fantastic assistant, and I'm very glad to give him a little recognition. He's going to help me with these awards. But let me just talk to you a little bit about the real purpose of this conference is it's really a legislative conference to release our agenda. And we did release our agenda 2 weeks ago, our legislative agenda, our priority list. You would have received it, but frankly, it's available online. And let me just talk to you just a little bit about that agenda and where we are in terms of our priorities. So, one of our top priorities, and I know both legislative leaders have been very helpful with us on this, is to keep the legally drawn congressional lines in place. That would be our top priority as I am standing here right now. But also opposition to state policies creating our own version of open borders in New York State. I mean, you've got the open borders down at the southern border. You've got the local attitude towards the open borders. And if you live in New York City or some of the downstate counties, you've got an additional open borders version. And there have been counties all around the state with Democratic county executives who have learned that their constituencies do not want open borders, and they have come around. Sanctuary cities. We oppose sanctuary cities. But you know, New York State's through an executive order is a sanctuary state. An executive order that Governor Cuomo signed, and that at the swing of a pen, Hochul could change. Hasn't happened. We could remind her every day, but the best reminder is going to be on Election Day. There are other things, such as repealing the foolish criminal justice reforms. We eat away at them. We make them a little better with the progressives hoping that we will not notice that things are not getting better. Well, we noticed. We noticed when we're in Manhattan, it could be at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, or it could be 8 o'clock at night, or it could be at 3 in the morning or midnight and coming off of Broadway. There are problems in some parts of the state that relating to crime that are very much due to New York State policies on criminal justice reforms. Not to mention, it is inconceivable that you could have 100,000 illegal aliens in a location with, either costing the government hundreds of millions of dollars or simply not having the resources. So what happens? This stealing, this violence. One of the worst situations I heard about recently, and you all read about it, and sure, it's what happened in Times Square, but there was another situation. It became apparent that criminal migrants with illegal aliens with an attitude towards doing crimes look to steal in New York, sell in Florida, and then return to New York to steal again. It's a system. It's an organized crime type system, except it's organized in an unorganized manner, but it becomes very, very dangerous to New Yorkers. How about congestion pricing? Is there anyone in this room that thinks congestion pricing is a good idea? Conservative Party is officially against congestion pricing. We talk about it. You talk about it. Unfortunately, I might start paying for it, but I'll be quite frank with you. I have no problem taking the subway into Manhattan, except I don't think it's safe. All right? So I drive. But I was born and raised in Brooklyn. I grew up in the 70s in Brooklyn. I can handle myself, but I do not think it's the wisest thing if you're going off hours to be taking the subway in and out of Manhattan. But they're going to put that up against the cost of congestion pricing, and for some people, they're going to be left on those subways. There's no other way around it unless they want to start taking out of their pocket another 70, 80 bucks a week. It's a tax, right? And how about ending the clearly unconstitutional changes in the election procedures? Aren't these things just all common sense items that your leader and Assembly Leader Barkley, the members here, both Democrats and Republicans, I might point out, and I'm aware of, there are a handful of Democratic legislators who we work very closely with. Frankly, I think sometimes they lose support within their own conferences simply because they agree in these common sense proposals. I can certainly say Carmen Yeager has definitely in the New York City Council experienced that. That's frankly why they formed the Common Sense Caucus, which is 6 Republicans and 3 Democrats. That 9 is versus the whole rest of the group. So once again, our agenda and our priority list can be found on our website. This rhetoric that goes with it, and we'd like to provide you, as you get from your own conferences, some language that could potentially assist. But it is not inappropriate for you to ask us for help. To call me and say, what can the Conservative Party do for me? Beyond endorsing, which I accept is extraordinarily important, but we do other things. We have a very, very robust social media operation. We do regular statements. We participate, and we'd like to participate on behalf of you. The street is 2 ways. So I'm grateful. I'm grateful for every legislator here. You guys did, many of them here did exceptionally well on our ratings, but everybody here did well. And some, like I said, won top honors. And what I'd like to do is individually call them individual legislators up. I'm asking, though, that they not speak this time around because I'm going to have the, representative of the Assembly minority and Senator Ortt for the Senate speak, and I think that'll move it along a little bit better. I think the awards look pretty good. Actually, I think they look very good, to be quite honest with you. And I hope you display the award. I hope you display the award. So the first person I'd like to call up, and I want to say that I was so pleased to see him on this list, Senator Mario Matera. There you go. Let's get a picture.
You sure I can't speak, Jerry?
Yes. No, don't go. We're going to get a picture. I didn't say we were going to get a picture.
Thank you so much.
I don't want to see this on eBay. He's already thinking about eBay. Come on. Oh, you can, if you'd like, definitely.
Oh, is everybody stand up?
Well, now they are.
Okay, good.
Can I call up Senator Stephen Rhodes? Oh, do you want to do it over here?
Yeah, please, lie down so we can get it.
Yeah, we'll keep on going.
That's it. I gotta learn how to do this.
Gonna have Rob, I'll have the leader speak at the end. Okay. Assemblyman Joe Angelino. Assemblyman.
Thank you, Chair. So, I couldn't get the nomination for my district, right?
Looks good.
Looking good. Actually asked me, make sure you ask him.
You're wondering if this will help getting the nomination. Oh, Assemblyman Harry Brown. Assemblyman. I think you might have read this. This is the Assemblyman recently donated a kidney.
Yeah. That's it. Right color. Thank you, Chairman.
Let's turn it the other way, so I think it's...
Very facing.
Let's move a little forward so we get a good picture.
To a veteran, by the way.
No, he didn't get marked. Mark, move.
Thank you.
Mark, don't take pictures from there.
What did I do?
I don't want you to take pictures from there.
Oh, you got it.
What happened?
They keep us together. Thank you,
Hey,
Chairman.
Mark, what happened is you got to take them from over there. Now you do. All right. Assemblyman, I'm going to wait. I'm going to leave Assemblyman DiPietro to the end because he's going to represent the Assembly minority. Assemblyman John Lamondes. John. I recently told him I like lamb, and it was the biggest mistake I ever made.
We're going to march over to the other side.
What? Let's get a picture.
Oh, can I go this way?
All right.
Thank you.
Where should I go?
Wherever you like, actually. Thank you. Assemblyman Brian Mankalo. Hey, Brian Mankalo. No, as long as we're giving the right people.
Giving the right one? So people put my arm in?
Of course. A lot of people put my arm in. Politicians put their arm in. Thank you, You want Brian, stay up there. Assemblyman John McGuire, if I pronounce it right. Now, I know Assemblyman Phil Palmisano is not here, so I will, first, let me just recognize him, but he's not here. He called us, of course. And I will give this to a representative of the Assembly Minority Conference. Assemblyman Doug Smith. Assemblyman Doug Smith.
Yeah. As long as I don't knock over the stage like Gary. Thank you, my friend.
I can see what's happening here.
One more. As long as we don't knock down the stage, we're good.
You know it. You know it. Assemblyman Robert Smullen. Assemblyman Robert Smullen.
Right behind me. Thank you so much.
One more. Okay, everyone can walk this way for one group picture. Yeah? Once you got one more?
Yeah.
All right.
Let's. We'll do that, but America's Assemblyman, I'm going to skip him. Assemblyman Chris DeVerte.
I can't stand here and not say something, so. I'm America's Assemblyman and I approve this message.
So let me, there was one more award, and then and I'd like him to say a few words on behalf of the Assembly Minority. Assemblyman David DiPietro. Hey. Oh, there it is. Oh, we just got to give you the award.
Hey, I think you need one, right?
There you go. Is this your first award?
9.
9.
Go, Chris.
Yeah, David!
Number 9, folks.
I asked him sarcastically.
They know you. Oh, sorry.
Good?
Thank you.
Okay.
More comfortable holding it. Hi everybody, I'm Dave DiPietro, State Assemblyman from East Aurora outside of Buffalo. It's an honor to be able to speak for our leader, Will Barkley, tonight. He had another engagement, a speaking engagement. He could not be here, and he was deeply regretful because he loves this dinner and he knows how much it means to everyone in this state. On behalf of Will, I know I speak for our entire conference, that over the years, the friendship we've had with the Conservative Party, the synergy that we've had with the Conservative Party, the working relationship we've had with the Conservative Party, but most importantly, the ideals we share with the Conservative Party. Those are what we stand for as Republicans. It's also what the Conservative Party, and when we work together, we've won races where no one thought we could win. I want to thank want to thank the chairs of the Conservative Party. There's a lot of them here, especially my mentor, the person, when I first ran, the one that stood up for me and said, I support you. When the other party and everyone else went the other way, Ralph Lorigo from Erie County stood behind me and said, Dave, we support you and your conservative values. And 12 years later, I'm still here. Thank you, Ralph. God bless you. To Gerard Kassar, who took over from a great leader.
First to tell you.
Right?
I'd be the first to tell you.
A great leader. And he's improved upon that. A tough job. But Jerry has held those ideals strong. He's led this state. Some stunning victories. And it's a tribute to the work that the Conservative Party puts in. I want to tell you something about our conference. Working with the senators has been great. But with our conference, look at all the number of people who won this award this year. That has not happened in my tenure. It's because of Will Barkley, our leader. He infused a new energy into this conference. He has given us direction. In his own way, he has led us, and he has made it quite clear that our party is going to stand true to those American ideals, those family ideals, those conservative ideals, the ones that Lee Zeldin spoke of. And because of that, we've got a record number of conservatives, of Republicans winning this award. And I think it's incredible to stand here in front of all them, call them my brothers, my sisters, but that we stand together in arms. And I know Will is very proud of everything that we've accomplished in our conference. And I want to just say on behalf of Will Barkley, the friendship, he wanted to make sure that I enumerated that friendship with the Conservative Party, because Will is so proud to be a part of what's happening tonight and a part of the members that stand up here, and even the members that just missed it by one vote. It shows the strength of our party. We're in the super minority, but I can tell you something Will has instilled in us, and that's that we fight all the time. We never give up. We take the battle to them. We win those debates on the floor, don't we? We win those debates. The Democrats cannot debate us. So I just also want to say, the last thing he wanted me to tell you, my leader, he said, never forget, in this upcoming, when we have a chance, he said, Hochul always tells us that she's a Biden Democrat. Now take that for what it's worth, because he was just so, make sure you tell everybody that I said that Hochul always says she's a Biden Democrat. And I said, what does that mean? And he just said, because she's destroying this state. And we're going to fight. And we appreciate the Conservative Party and everything they've done, everything they've stood for, and the teamwork that we've put together with both conferences. And you're seeing right now, when you have great leadership, you have great results.
Thank you.
And we have great results. So God bless all you. On behalf of Will Barkley, thank you.
I'd like to call Senate Republican Leader Rob Ortt to the podium on behalf of the conference. Senator stood with us earlier today at a press conference on reapportionment, and he always stands with us as well as his conference and the Assembly minority.
Well, thank you very much, Chairman. It's weird for me to be up here, if I may be honest, without an award in my hand. I've been in the right. All I know is when Sean Marie was in charge, I used to win the award. That's all I know. So, and by the way, yeah, I know, it's got your name on it. But you know, I used to always win these awards, and they always had like a blue tint. I have 7 out of 10. So not as many as Dave, but 7. This year I come in. You know, I'm a little down, didn't win the award, and then what do I see? These cool new red-tinted awards. So I'll have to work a little harder next year. But that's not why I'm up here. I'm up here to recognize certainly the members of the Assembly, the members of the Senate, in this case Senator Matera, Senator Rhodes. Senator Rhodes in his first term, has added that award to his mantle, and Senator Matera in his second term. Both of them are great defenders of conservative values in the Senate. And I'll tell you what, you can applaud Senator White. You can applaud. You know, there was a day when I first got elected, and to my Long Island members who are in the room, it would have been a rare thing indeed that a Long Island Republican senator would have gotten the Conservative of the Year award. It just really didn't happen very often. And I think that showed you, when you see the results that have happened down on Long Island, when you see the entire island has been taken over by Republicans, by conservatives, and that's going to continue a week from this Tuesday when Mazi Philip is elected to Congress in Nassau County.
That's right, that's right.
You know, I had to laugh though, Dave, when Dave was speaking. I want to know which members he was referring to when he calls them his sisters. Dave, I don't know. He said brothers and sisters up here. I don't know who he was referring to. I hope it wasn't the senators, or we'll have to have words. Yeah, I get it. Just covering all his bases, which is a sign of growth for Dave, for sure. So, you know, it's great. I get to represent Western New York along with Assemblyman Dave DiPietro back home, and so it's always great to be to recognize a fellow Western New Yorker and of course our members. And it was great to see Lee Zeldin and hear Lee Zeldin's words tonight. I hope all of you really took to heart the energy with which he was speaking and what he was saying. You know, and it's great to see Alison here running for Congress. Alison, thank you for your willingness to continue to put yourself out there. Here was somebody who spent her adult life protecting and serving the people of New York City. And then, talking about a career change, she decided to take a chance and run for lieutenant governor. And of course, the difference is, as a police officer, you could potentially shoot back at the people shooting at you, right? When you run for office, it's just all incoming, right? But she ran a great campaign. First-time candidate. First time of any office. And I used to think, wow, did Lee pick a tremendous running mate? Someone who I thought embodied everything that he was trying to do here in the state of New York. And to see what he's doing and what she's doing, it's easy to run, when you lose, it's easy to just go, you know what, I'm done. It's easy to walk away, like so many people have. It's quite frankly easy to move. And I'm sure Alison and Lee have all kinds of opportunities that would take them away from New York State, but they're here because they care. They're here because they believe in these values. They're not just talking points. They're not just bullet points on a palm card or on a teleprompter or in a speech. They believe it with every inch of their being. Lee, of course, served his country in the military like a lot of us did. Alison served her city as a New York City police officer. They have bled and fought for these values, and they continue to do so, and I want to thank Lee and Alison for their continued service to our state. I certainly want to thank Chairman Kassar. Chairman Kassar has been a friend of mine for a long time when he worked in the New York State Senate. And by the way, and I think you know this, but when Lee was telling that story, just so everyone in this room knows, I was not in leadership then. So Lee was in the Senate before I was ever in the Senate. But I will tell you, I know of which he speaks. I know of which he speaks, and it's too bad. But I can tell you that Lee and myself and some others, we didn't listen to those people who told us not to speak up. But unfortunately, a lot of people did. And, you know, you see where that got us. And I'm not going to say that's why we're where we are, but it didn't help. It didn't help. At the end of the day, it didn't help. We have to recognize the stakes. I said today, you sort of got to recognize the fight that you're in. This is my message to everybody. There's a military axiom about fighting the last war.
Very often generals, as they get up there, because they're trained, when they're coming of age, when you're a second lieutenant, a captain, when you become a general, you have embodied and instilled in the war that you sort of came up in. And very often it's the last war, meaning things have shifted, tactics have changed, everything is different, but you don't realize it. You don't realize it until it's too late. And I think if that happens to generals, I'm confident and I'm sure that it happens to elected officials, where you don't recognize the stakes. You don't recognize that all the old fight, the old rules, and everything you've been taught and told is no longer applicable. It's shifted. We are in that moment. I can tell you firsthand, just in the 10 years that I've been here, how unbelievably different everything is today. How the ground has shifted underneath us. How the old rules no longer apply. Now, I believe that President Trump awakened something in the American public. For some people, it was not good, okay? But for a lot of us in this room, he awakened something. He made us proud and showed us how to fight again as conservatives, as Americans. And that's what I think the left doesn't quite understand. Yeah, they might not like how he articulates things, or his tweets, or his hair, or his suits, but he doesn't care. He really doesn't care, because he, like all of you, is on a mission to try and save the Republic of the United States of America, taking no prisoners, come hell or high water. He gets the stakes. He understands the game has shifted. In some ways, you could say he's helped shift the game himself for the better. And I think we have to recognize that here in New York, that we can't be fighting last year's election. We can't be fighting the election of 2016. We have to fight the election of 2024 because our state and our country depend on it. And with your help and with your support of all of our candidates up and down the ballot, we will be successful this year in saving our state and in saving this country. So God bless you very much. Thanks for having me.
Let's get a single picture. Let's go.